What is up? What is going on, everybody? I am back with the Mariners postgame show. And if you've noticed some new equipment here, I've got a new microphone that I am going to be using from now on. A huge thank you to Gunny Studios, aka my brother, for hooking up with the microphone. I know some other equipment that will be coming as well. So if the sound is a little off, or a little different, just let me know. Still getting used to using equipment that's not just my phone. So still working on that and everything. So just let me know how I can make it better and do stuff like that. So just trying this out. So if my voice sounds a little different or weird, just getting used to the new microphone. If you're new here, hit that like button and hit the subscribe button for me. Most importantly, just helps get my videos out to more people. And I hope you guys are enjoying all of these post-game recaps for the Seattle Mariners. Like I said, if you're just a casual observer, maybe you stop by, you like the videos, just hit that sub button for me. It just helps me out tremendously as I am on the road to 2,000 subs. And thank you to everybody that comments and watches all the videos. I truly appreciate it. And the Hawaiian shirts are back as well for the post games. So let's get into it. The Mariners cap off a really, really nice series win here against the Minnesota Twins. They win at 8-7 in the finale here. The offense comes alive. The bullpen was fantastic. Bryce Miller, I thought, was actually better than the final line indicates. He certainly wasn't amazing, but he was good enough for the team today. And a really, really good series win for this team. You know, as much as we've been frustrated with it, they did just win 2 of 3 from Minnesota and 2 of 3 from Toronto. And they did win the last game against the Twins and did split in that series in Seattle. So as kind of annoying as the Twins have been to the Mariners this year, they did go 4-3 against Minnesota. So it definitely, it's so bizarre because – Monday after the game, we felt about as low as we could have. Colton Wong hits the home run, and they blow it in the ninth, and you're thinking, here we go. This is just going to be another one of these games. And then yesterday, to get down 4-0. And like I said, I was real close to making a video where I actually came on here down 4-0 and said, I'm done. This is just, it's just not happening for this team. They're not going to win. They're going to be 50-51. And it's just not happening. This is not a good baseball team. And I was convinced of that. And I was 100% ready to write it off. And then they come back and win yesterday. And then they win the game today. And all of a sudden, 52-50 now, Toronto is beating up on the Dodgers. So the Mariners are still going to be 4.5 back. Listen, I would still put money on them not making the playoffs. I think the hole is pretty large. But even if they're just playing better baseball, that's good to see. And we'll get into a lot of the positives today. And there were a lot of them from a lot of different players that even if this team doesn't get in, it's still really, really good to see. I'll start as always with the pitching. Again, I didn't think – now, I'll be clear. I didn't watch this game. A lot of you probably are the same way. Wednesday afternoon, actually Wednesday morning games, probably not the easiest for a lot of us to watch. We got to work and everything like that. Sometimes I'm able to get free and watch these. This was not one of the games that I was able to, so I did not get to see this game. So this is all based on the box score. So not the most fancy of breakdowns, but when you break down 162 of these, you're going to miss some of them. and I'll be honest, with baseball, just because there's a game the next day, I usually don't go back and watch the games. I might this one because it was kind of fun. But in general, I usually don't go back and watch the games. I just kind of let them happen because usually we're about 20 hours from the next one. So you got to move on very quickly in baseball. Anyways, like I said, so I didn't think Bryce Miller was terrible. 5 2/3, 8 hits, 6 runs, 6 earned, no walks, 7 strikeouts. He gave up 4 home runs. That's not good. But other than that, that's just nothing. But, 7 strikeouts to no walks is really good. He was an out away from getting out of this. It's a quality start. You know what I mean? And some of the runs given up were when Brash came in. I'm not blaming Brash. Miller still put those guys on base. But I didn't think he was awful. 92 pitches, 60 strikes is really solid. A 7-0 strikeout to walk ratio is really good. The ball was flying today in Minnesota. This was just one of those days when I don't really know if anybody would have been able to go 7 innings, 1 earned run or anything like that. I think it was just one of those starts. So all in all, he was able to get into the 6th inning with the bullpen being thin. I did not think this was a bad start from Bryce Miller. Matt Brash was not as sharp as he's been recently. but he was able to finally get that last out in the 6th inning. So we can say what we want, but he did get them out of that inning with the lead. It seemed like, again, a lot of 2-strike hits. It kind of reminded me of what we saw from Brash and more in April and May, where just kind of giving up those 2-strike hits instead of putting hitters away. But Brash has been so good as of late that, it stinks that it happened on a game when it looked like it was going to be an easy win. But it is what it is. I think he's fine. Nothing I'd be too worried about. Gabe Spire, really clean inning. Nice series for Gabe Spire. Not surprised against the Twins lineup, which is very, very heavily left-handed. I said yesterday, this would have been a great series to have Robbie Ray as a starting pitcher. Maybe not so much a guy like Marco, because Marco's just not that great overall. But someone like Robbie Ray, I think, really would have been a weapon against this Minnesota Twins lineup, because they mash righties, but they struggle against left-handed pitching. So Gabe Spire was really valuable in this series. Topa with a clean 8th, and even though he didn't record a strikeout, Andres Munoz shuts it down in the 9th inning. You didn't have Paul Sewald today, so I thought the bullpen was managed just fine. I thought everything that the Mariners did, maybe you could have taken Bryce Miller out after the 5th or an out earlier. Of course, maybe, but that's all minuscule stuff in the long run. Everything's always an out here and out there. But I thought the bullpen was managed well. I thought they pitched well. And they did the job and locked it down. Not a lot of strikeouts from the bullpen, just the 2, one from Brash, one from Spire, but they got it done. And at this point in the season, the Mariners need every little bounce and break they can get, whether that's looking like they're not going to face Zach Gallen or Merrill Kelly in this next series for the Diamondbacks. Little things like that they need. I do not care what it looks like. They need wins. And if that's Munoz walking 13 guys and not striking out any, I'll take it. I'll criticize and say, hey, it didn't look good, but I will take the outing. How about the offense today? How about the offense last 2 games, really? Starting to turn the corner here. The offense has played much better as of late. Really, I'd say maybe for the month of July, they have been much better. Now, they've been the subject of many, much angst for many Mariners fans, rightfully so. For a few months there, they were the problem with this team. Not just them, obviously. I think it's the whole team has had some issues, but they finally look like they're kicking into gear. I don't think anybody expected this to be a top 5 offense, but an offense that I think we're seeing the last couple games that, while maybe it's not amazing, is certainly capable of having games like this. Julio Rodriguez, let's start off. J.P. Crawford had the day off, so Julio was batting leadoff. 3 for 5, 3 hits, 3 runs scored, an RBI, 2 doubles, and a home run. If they can get this version of, I shouldn't say this version of Julio, because Julio the last 2 days would be the greatest player to ever play the game. But a Julio Rodriguez, sorry, just hit the table, that is closer to what we've seen this series is more important than any trade line acquisition this team can make. It's why I haven't made many videos on acquisitions. I don't think they're going to be very active. I think they might make a few buys here and there, maybe a couple sells on some guys. But you want to know what the best acquisition this team can make? Someone like Julio going on a tear for the last 60 games. That is the best acquisition this team can make. It is the best thing for this team. That guy right there, number 44 in center field. If he can get hot, then I absolutely think this team can go on a run and maybe get that wild card spot. Like I said, more important than any acquisition is Julio Rodriguez. And if the last 2 games are any indication, hopefully we're finally getting that player. Gino 1 for 4 with a RBI, single, and a walk. I did not see the game. I know some fans were kind of upset with the strike zone. I believe it was in the 4th. They had the bases loaded, nobody out. They actually did score a run on Colton Wong's single. And then I guess there was, maybe Gino should have walked, but didn't. I don't have the energy to get after the umps anymore, guys. It's just the umps stink, and the Mariners still got to find a way. You got to find a way to overcome it. At the end of the day, that didn't end the at bat, unless it was strike 3, ball 4 is called strike 3. I don't know. But either way, Gino is producing a little bit. He's had some clutch hits. He still hasn't had a great season, but I think he's been clutch enough that's kind of made up for it. Teo was 1 for 5 with a single and an RBI. Obviously, we'll take that single and RBI. I would love to see Teo get going 702 OPS with some of the kind of blunders in the outfield, not good enough. We'll see if Teo's still on this team in a couple weeks. You could keep him and offer him the qualifying offer. If he doesn't accepted. I think you get a draft pick for it. So that would be a route to go too. So keeping him doesn't necessarily mean that you're not selling in a way. But I still think a trade is better. I still think you get more value out of a trade than a draft pick. Mike Ford cooling off a little bit, 0 for 5 with 30 strikeouts. I mean, still, here's the thing with Mike Ford. I don't think Mike Ford is the answer. I view Mike Ford, I thought even this last year when he came up and he had some good at-bats off the bench, he worked some walks and worked the count. I think Mike Ford is a really good platoon option. He can hit righties. I think he's a good pinch hitter to have off the bench, kind of that Dave Hansen type player that is going to give you a quality at-bat coming off the bench. So I think Mike Ford is worth being on a major league roster. But yeah, there's a reason he's been DFA'd several times and been up and around up and down. Now, part of it maybe just hasn't been given a chance, but odds are he's probably not that great of a player. Doesn't really have a defensive position. So we'll see. The good news is Mike Ford cooling off has coincided with Julio being in fuego and some other guys heating up as well. So, if Mike Ford can just run into the occasional home run and the occasional walk, he's still fine. He's okay. No problem with him. Ty was 0 for 3 with the walk. Ty continues to struggle. Kind of the middle of the order struggle, but Tom Murphy was 1 for 4 with a double. Interesting now that it almost seems like Cal and Murph really splitting the duties and Murph getting some at-bats against righties too, not just lefties. How about Cade Marlowe? He's 0 for 2, but had 2 walks. Cade Marlowe's impressed me. He's had a good idea of the strike zone. I mean, listen, we're talking about guys had 12 at-bats. I'm not going to anoint him, but, you never know. You never know who's going to be the next big player. Cade Marlowe is not a nothing prospect. He's a guy we've had our eyes on for a little bit that could be a contributor. So we'll see. It's been a nice start for Cade Marlowe, and I'm glad he's getting the at-bats over Taylor Trammell. How about Dylan Moore? 3 for 4, 4 RBIs, 2 home runs. It's so funny how just a week ago we were ready to move on from Dylan Moore. Now he's got a 798 OPS. It's almost like you got to give someone more than 20 at-bats that's coming off a major injury and missed half the season. Dylan Moore has been a productive role player his entire career, and it looks to be continuing. And honestly, at this point, do you give Dylan Moore most of the reps at second base? I think I do. I think he's a better option than Caballero. I think Colton Wong got the start today because JP was given the day off. And I think he's clearly a better option than Colton Wong. I think that Dylan Moore should, at the moment, get the majority of the reps at second base. And, Cabby and, Wong can sprinkle in there when Dylan Moore plays other positions to give other guys days off. But you're seeing why Dylan Moore is so valuable. I said before the year, I thought Dylan Moore held a lot of the cards for the Mariners' success, especially with the DH role. And you're thinking, well, what are you talking about, Jay? Dylan Moore held the keys to the DH role because Dylan Moore was a guy they could plug anywhere. And I think their goal with the DH position, now obviously things have changed and Mike Ford's just kind of had the role because there's not anywhere else Mike Ford can really play. But coming into the season, I think the goal was to kind of move people around. Dylan Moore plays third base, Gino DHs. Dylan Moore plays first base, Ty France DHs. Dylan Moore plays second base, Colton Wong DHs. I think that was kind of the plan. The DH was going to be a bit of a rover position. And Dylan Moore's injury and missing almost half the year kind of prevented that from happening. And now you're at a position where Dylan Moore kind of might just need to play second base with what's happening. Colton Wong did have an RBI single, so that's good. Listen, anytime you can get anything from Colton Wong at this point, I'm happy. He had a fairly productive series, probably should have had the game winner on Monday, had laid down a great bunt hit yesterday, RBI single today. Sign me up. I will take it. Any production from Colton Wong at this point is absolute gravy for this baseball team. So a real nice win, 8-7, starting to win those coin flip games. Remember, I talked about those in my Mariners assessment. I feel like my voice is all like with the new mic, I'm doing Mariners ASMR or something. I'll get used to the volume stuff eventually, so I apologize on that. But starting to win those coin flip games a little bit. The games they were losing all in the first half, the games they won so much of last year, they are starting to turn that around, and they're starting to win some of these. Yeah, they lost one on Monday and they lost one on Sunday, but they also won one yesterday, one today, 2 against the Blue Jays. So they've won 4 out of this. They essentially played 6 coin flip games over the last 2 series, and they came out on the winning side on 4 of them. That's good. That's what we needed. They needed to find a way to win more of these games. was the exact game they won last year, and it was the exact game they've been losing all of this season. That was this game here today. So yeah, and just a nice win. You know, I thought just good all around. The offense was good. Yeah, Bryce Miller wasn't amazing, but I thought he was okay. I didn't think Bryce Miller was bad at all today. I really don't. And you look on their side with Joe Ryan, who only went 3 2/3, gave up 7 hits, 4 runs. I mean, you know, he couldn't even make it out of the 4th inning. So I thought Bryce Miller was able to almost get them 6 solid innings on a day when the bullpen was thin. We'll take it. And yeah, most of it due to the offense, obviously, but you take it, you know, and the offense was good enough. They bailed him out. Kudos to the offense. They did it yesterday for George Kirby, and they kind of did it again today. For Bryce Miller. You know, I thought the bullpen was manageable. I thought Scott did a good job. I'm not going to go over the top with praise for Scott because I also don't go over the top with, I don't blame him for things. I think the players got to play. I say when they lose, I think the players need to do better. Yeah, there's maybe some decisions should have been made differently. And maybe there was today too. I don't know, but the players got to play and they've got to find a way to get a W. Like I said, the biggest acquisition this team can make is number 44, playing a lot better. And he's done it the last 2 games. That's a big reason they're winning. So I you know what I mean? Like, I'm not going to praise because I don't really blame either. You know, it just is what it is. Like, the players have got to be better. And today was a good start for it. And yesterday too. Hopefully they can keep this momentum going. Probably a good day off for this team to get the bullpen some rest and have everybody going for Arizona. I believe you're missing both Zach Gallen and Merrill Kelly in this series. And the Mariners will have Logan Gilbert, Brian Wu, and Luis Castillo. So, yeah, I mean, so good odds here for the Mariners. Listen, I said early in the video, you need every little thing you can get for this team. And every little thing means missing some good starters. Hey, take it. You never know. So hopefully this team can get the momentum going, keep it going. Let's just check in real quick and see if the Blue Jays finished off the Dodgers. They're up 8-1 bottom 8. So more than likely the Blue Jays will win. Baltimore's beating Philly, but that's early. Tampa Bay lost. Let's just check the up to the minute standings real quick. Houston plays Texas later, excuse me. I think Houston's going to win the division. I do. I think Houston is going to pass Texas, especially when they get Yordan Alvarez back. And the Mariners are 4 back. They'll be 4.5 here in a few minutes. I don't think passing Texas is impossible. I don't. And you play them 6 more times. I could be wrong in that. I wouldn't be shocked if Texas falls back a little bit here. I think Toronto gets in. I think Tampa's going to hold on. I think Houston wins the West. I wonder if Texas is the team that drops off just enough. Let's check. See where they are relative to Texas. Right now, the Mariners are 7 games behind Texas. That's a lot. That's a lot. If they lose, they'll be 6.5. I do think, I don't know. Their run differential is really good. So maybe they don't drop off. I don't know, but they feel like that team that might drop off. So we'll see. I might go live later tonight just to test out the mic a little bit more and stuff. And let's just dish Mariners. Let's just have a Mariners dish session. Let me know if you guys are down for that. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Let me know how the sound quality is. It's probably the same. I don't know. Thank you again, Gunny. Truly appreciate it. Can't wait for the more stuff to come in and really get my setup. I got all sorts of fun toys coming in here, monitor setup. So we're going to get cooking here very soon. Remember to hit like, comment, and subscribe. Great win for the Mariners. Have a great Wednesday, everybody. Peace.